Welcome to another video from Gweilo 60. I'm in Nanning somewhere. I have no idea. Sometimes I just drive around and just look at things. I thought this was an interesting background showing how some of the buildings are actually built here. The old style, the farmer type of stuff. Anyway, that's not what this video is about. What does Joan Jett and China have in common? A bad reputation, exactly. And that's what I'm going to be talking about today. And I blame a lot of this on China, but I don't blame it all on China. China needs to step up their marketing. Exactly. They don't do it well. And why don't they do it well? Well, I'm going to get into that in a little bit too. It goes back, I don't know, a couple hundred years, maybe not a couple hundred, 150-ish years, when China started going to the United States, and they were looked upon differently than the rest of the world. Yeah, they were looked on differently than the blacks. They were looked on differently than the North American Indians, or the East Indians, or the Polynesians, or whatever. They were looked on differently. They were given head taxes. They were dealt with in more of a, I don't know, discriminated way. Okay, well, that's good. And what did they do? They put their head down and they just sucked it up. Suck it up, buttercup. You know what I mean? So you fast forward to World War II, and you know, communism, everybody doesn't like a communist. Better dead than red. All of this stuff that came out of the Soviet world back in the Cold War with the United States. But look at World War II. The Soviets, communists, were on the side of the United States and Canada and Great Britain. Look at China, communist country. Ish at that time. It was borderline. You had the nationalists and you had the communists. But China turned into a communist country shortly after World War II because the communists took over. Allies, definitely. Okay. Who are the biggest losers of World War II? Was it the Germans? No, I think they lost like just over 8 million, 8.8 million people. The Soviets lost 24 million people, military and civilians. The Chinese lost 20 million people, military and civilians. The largest losers, the largest number of deaths in World War II were the Russians, communist country, and China, communist country. Now, you fast forward to today, when the world looks at Russia as a bad place. The world looks at China as a bad place. Both of them can step up their marketing considerably. You know, and there's a lot of reasons why the Chinese can't do their marketing properly like the United States. The United States has been at it for a long time, and they're really, really good at it. Okay, so and then they start. These guys here are changing tires on a semi. So I'm gonna have to move. I'll be right back. Okay, so here we are again in a new location in a village area of Nanning City, a little quieter. I like quiet. But you gotta understand that up until 1978, when China started to open up to the rest of the world, China was in fact rice farmers and fishermen. The Cultural Revolution, the Mao days, made it so. This is exactly what their sort of doctrine back in those days stated the country should be. Get back to your roots, get back to what you are, and they thought at that time that working the land, education was bad. Working the land, being back in the farming kind of way was exactly what they needed for their country. Bad reputation guaranteed off that one. So as the world was moving forward, China was moving backwards. Again, bad reputation. But you see, the thing is that after 1978, when things started to open up in Guangdong province and Shenzhen area and stuff, they looked at the world differently. They looked at capitalism, commercialism, getting their act together as a country, building wealth for their people, having a better standard of living, having better health care, having a safer, better place for their people to live. Okay. But they couldn't portray it to other people. Yes, there's children playing over here. You're just going to have to put up with it, guys. It's just the way it is. But they couldn't portray it to other people. They couldn't portray that understanding around the world. Why? No English, no Spanish, no French, none of that. So how are they going to promote their way of living when they really don't even know that they're supposed to promote that way of living? So up until, say, 1980, you're looking 40 years ago, nice bike, looking 40 years ago, the Chinese people weren't into marketing their country to the rest of the world to get a better reputation, just like Joan Jett. I think she thought a bad reputation was a good thing, but that's another story. Yeah, I know I keep moving for a quieter place to do this video. One of those days, it's just the way it is. Okay, so during this time period, Europe and the United States and Canada and stuff, they were getting rich. They were selling their wares. They were making inroads with other countries, making allies, and all of the things that build an international community. China wasn't doing that. Bad reputation, guaranteed. So when they did open up to the rest of the world, it's taken them time to sort of portray their way of living to the rest of the world. It hasn't worked out. Communism has sort of thwarted that. The idea of democracy against a communist regime, you notice how he used regime there? That's what I've been taught in school, in my world, in Canada over the last, I hate to say it, 60 years, guys. But when will China start showing the rest of the world what it's actually like? And they're not doing it today. They're floundering. They need to have more of a marketing stance on it. They look at it differently than the rest of the world because they don't have any experience in this. So up until the day that they actually understand how to portray their world as it really is, not as somebody else portrays it in the Western world, they're still going to be looked at as a country with a bad reputation. They're the Joan Jett of the world. Sorry, Joan, I'm just using you as a, sort of a euphemism, just for the fact that you had a bad reputation back when I was a young lad, back in, you know what I mean? It used to be the Russians, because they didn't speak English either, and their writing was all, well, everybody's seen Russian writing. And then you get the Chinese, and they don't speak English either, and their writing is, well, everybody knows what Chinese writing looks like, and nobody can understand it. I actually can read a little bit of that now. I've been working on it, and I'm getting better and better at it. I'm not going to bring it out to the public until I'm good enough that I won't embarrass myself, but that's coming. But you see, the idea that they can't portray it to the rest of the world is one of those things that they have to really work on. And coming off as trying to fight back, I think is the wrong idea. I think the idea of basically showing what's good in the country, the things that they've accomplished over the last 40 years or over the last 5 years is a good thing. I think that when you show places like this, as it is here in 2021, in a city of 7.5 million people, I think when people see stuff like this, they understand that China is a different place than the United States or Canada or Great Britain or basically anywhere else in the world. So I just basically turned my bike around and I'm just sitting looking at the other direction. I don't have a little pond behind me and stuff. But you can see the history here. Anyway, that's not what this video is about. I know you hear that all the time from me, but it's the truth. I digress. It's what I do. It's an age thing. You'll get there someday if you live long enough. But you look at the Western world, and they've been really good at propaganda, brainwashing, and you know, it's brainwashing their people. Because, sorry, Dad, but when I was talking to him about China, he had the idea in his mind that China was the place that they were portraying in mainstream media in the West. So as the Western world brainwashes their citizens against China, against the Chinese government, against the Chinese people, you know, and you say brainwashing, no, that's what the communist Chinese government does to their people. No, I really don't think so. I think that the Chinese people, when somebody like me comes into the country, a foreigner, they treat me with respect. They want to know about my world. They want to know because they don't know. They're curious. When somebody talks about the Chinese people and a Chinese person comes into a place like Canada, you come from a communist country, this, they already have preconceived notions about how that country actually is. And I think that's one of the biggest problems in understanding China and the Chinese people. I think that if the mainstream media and the American and Canadian and UK and Australia, New Zealand, Indian governments would I don't even know, governments would tell the truth about the Chinese government and how the people are and how the people live and how they've progressed and how their life is getting better and how they've never taken over another country and how they're not violent and how they don't have the homeless problems and how they don't have mass shootings on a daily basis and how they work hard and they try to accomplish and they're moving in a positive direction. I think if the Western world saw that on a regular basis, I think it would switch something in their mind and they would understand what China's actually like. And it's people like myself and Daniel Dumbrell and Alex from Reportify and Alex from Alex Absolute and Nico and Blondie and all of the Matt from Jayo Nation, all of the people showing you what China's actually like makes a big difference in what people think. And I think that sooner or later, God willing, that's going to happen in mainstream media in the West. And China won't have that bad reputation that they've had in the past. And maybe there'll be a little bit more of a reconciliation between the East and the West. Maybe there won't be the us against them. Maybe things will turn better in the future. But China has to step up to the plate too and has to start portraying their country in a better light. Maybe listening to people like the people I just mentioned in this video and saying, well, maybe they know something that we don't know. Maybe they can portray us better to the Western world than what we can portray because our language skills, our signs, our, the understanding, the background, the worldly views that we've gained over years and years of experience in those countries makes it so that we understand those countries and how these people think. And maybe that's the ticket to getting out of this us against them type of scenario. Anyway, that's another video from Gweilo 60 in a village here in Nanning, China. I love the villages. I love the rural areas. I just love China. I love my life. Anyway, if you like this video, as always, like, comment, subscribe, push that share button. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to resubscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell. And whatever you do, don't forget to put a couple bucks in the children's Patreon account. It's for a good cause. Peace out. Thanks for watching. Bye now.